Okay, so this week we're scheduled for the Tamron 35mm 1.4.
No, you do this to me every time. I don't like 35 millimeters.
Calm down. Now, we've got other options here. I see a Sigma 35mm 1.2. We've got a Canon 35mm 1.8 IS. Don't forget too, we still haven't done the Sony 35mm 1.8. Oh, look at this. We have a Laowa 17mm, which of course crops out to a 35mm full frame equivalent.
This is a joke to you. This is a joke. You do it. This is ridiculous. Every single time. I'm sick of this. Welcome back, DPReview TV viewers. Chris Nichols here with another midweek short episode. Today we're going to take a very quick look at the brand new Tamron Super Performance 35mm 1.4. Basically famous for being incredibly high resolution, sharp to the corners, amazingly sharp lens, better than Canon, better than Sony, better than Nikon, and that's fantastic. But what I really want to do is look at this lens more in terms of then what kind of character can it deliver, what kind of bokeh, sunstars, fun stuff like that. So we're going to play around with the lens today. I have taken some sample photos on a classic D750 SLR, but today I thought I'd shoot it on the Z7 with the FTZ adapter just so we can get the highest resolution possible and not worry about micro adjusting. Now, Tamron has been at the super performance lens game for as long as I've been alive, and I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with this 35mm 1.4. But it also reminds me of some lenses that are very recent. They made some awesome 1.8 SP primes with image stabilization, and those lenses were fantastic value for the dollar, excellent performers, and they were really undersung. And I think they lost a lot of steam because of the excellent Sigma Art series that came out. That 35mm 1.4, as you remember, made quite a stir in the market. This lens, however, I'd say is optically better than the Sigma, which is saying a lot. And the only real issue I would say is at over 800 grams or 40% of a Nikkor Noct, it is up there as one of the heaviest lenses in its class. Your mind is sad, but your body is happy. So, you know, fingers up, dancing, like Vince. Yeah, oh, beautiful, beautiful. Just think, you know, Royale with cheese, comfortable silences. Yes. Now, Tamron has absolutely built this lens in a very solid fashion. It's got the nice understated look of the other SP primes, and it's fully weather sealed. When it comes to video work, the manual focus ring, it's usable, it's fairly smooth, but it's not up there with the best on the market. And I don't know if videographers are really going to love this lens in a huge way. I mean, it's a good 35mm, but you don't need the sharpness, and there is a little bit of breathing. I mean, look at this example. Pay attention to the top right on that post. You can see that, yeah, it breathes quite a bit. Okay, so we should address it, yes. So this lens is very, very sharp. Probably the sharpest 35mm we've seen. Wide open at 1.4, center still good, corners very decent, stop it down, sharp, sharp everywhere, sharpness like crazy. D750, it's overkill, but on the high resolution sensors, it's perfect. See that beautiful blue fence back there? Well, I mean, it's not beautiful, it's hideous, but it's gonna give me a good shot here just to test longitudinal chromatic aberration. This is a chromatic aberration that's quite difficult to get rid of in post, where areas in the foreground are gonna be one color, probably a magenta shift, and then areas in the background beyond the point of focus are gonna be another color, probably like a cyan or green. Now, with the Tamron 35mm, I certainly think this lens is performing very, very well, but you can see shot wide open at 1.4, we are getting some. It's fairly apparent. Keep in mind that if I stop this lens down, that is largely going to disappear. And I think the Tamron's doing a great job controlling it, but this is one thing where if you shoot wide open, you are going to have to deal with it. All right, so I did a quick little test here shooting at f/16 to see what kind of sun stars we get shooting right into the sun. And keep in mind that things like flare and sun stars, that's not something you can really change in post easily at all. So if the lens has good characteristics there, that's a bonus. And I'm actually really liking the Tamron's rendition of sun stars. Beautiful, dramatic, very, very cool. Flare control seems really good too, although most prime lenses do a good job here. The only flare I'm seeing was dirt on the lens and dust, and I've since taken care of that. But overall, again, really nice performance in that regard. Doing close-ups with wide aperture, wide angle lenses are always fun. You get a very unique look, and you can totally just put the background into soft, smooth, out of focus bokeh. The Tamron doesn't do anything amazing as far as close-up. It's just under a foot, totally on par with the Canon and the Sigma counterparts. So Tamron has designed this lens to give very smooth bokeh, and even stop down, the apertures are 9-bladed, they're quite circular, really beautiful from like f2 to f4 especially. I will say that it's a very smooth rendition. I think it's great. I could see how some people might find it a little bit punchy looking, but overall, the only issue I really have, some slight mechanical vignetting wide open, and that largely goes away by the time you get down to about 1.8 or f2. So overall, very subjective, but really beautiful in my opinion. So it's been a really lovely, actually warm day outside, but you can see that giant snowstorm which is about to kill us. So that'll make this wrap up quick. Here's the takeaway. Super sharp lens. Tamron's done this at a very good price point. I would absolutely take this over the Sigma 35mm 1.4 Art, and that is saying a lot. And when you compare it against very expensive lenses like the Canon 35mm 1.4, although that does maybe have a little bit better correction of things like chromatic aberrations, a lot of those things can be solved in post. So I think Tamron has a very good, very usable lens at a fantastic price point. The only issue I can really think of, it is going to be a little bit heavier than a lot of other stuff out there on the market. Ooh, I almost forgot. There's one more big downside to this lens. It's still a 35mm focal length, but I know 99% of you love it. Thanks so much for joining us. Please don't forget Instagram, Twitter, subscribe. We'll have more reviews for you very soon, assuming you survive that. Thanks so much.
Run!